Hello guys, welcome to Digital World Tech Academy YouTube channel. My name is John Python. In this video, I'm just going to show you guys the practical aspect of user authentication. So I'm just going to show you how we can grant a user access to the website or an app if the username and the password matches. So let's have it. So the first thing I did was I created my file for this tutorial. So I name it authentication.py. So let me highlight the first step I take here. The first step I'm going to take here is I want to create a predefined username and password. That's the first step I'm going to take here. So what do I mean by predefined username and password? Now, you know how this works. When you want to get into your account, when you want to have access to your account, while you are creating your account, first you have to provide a username and a password, and then this thing will be stored in the database. So if you want to use the account again, if you want to have access to the account again, you have to provide a username that matches that or particular information that you provided stored in the database. If it does not match, you are not going to be granted access to your account. That is what we want to practicalize here. Even though we are not working directly now from a database, we just want to create a predefined username and password that we'll use for this project. So now I want to create a variable for that. I want to create username, user underscore name. Sorry guys. So I want to equate it to, let me just write something. Let me say John Python, that is my username, John Python. So I want to create a password. Alright. So sorry, let me change this to something else because I'm still going to use this username for another thing. Let me change it to profile name, profile underscore name. So my profile name is John Python. So I want to my password. Let me create a password for this. Let me name it let's say John Python 1567. So this is my password and this is my username. So I want to create a username. This username I'm not going to predefine it here. So I want to allow the user to put a username so that you can, when the password and the profile name matches, you can tell them welcome, then record the username. So you see how that will work. So I just want to create a username here, user underscore name, so which is equal to, so I want to allow the user to put that username by themselves, not me creating it here, and I want that username to be a string. So I want to open a parenthesis here. So, and I simply want to write impute here. Sorry guys, I want to write an impute. So outside of this parenthesis, I want to write impute. Alright, so this impute, what is going to be there is enter your username. This is what we're gonna have there. So let me give a space so that the user will see a space to write your username. So this is the first step we are taking in this project. So let's go back to the second step. So I want to use a comment there. The second step, I want to let the user impute the profile name and the password. That is the second step. So now let's do that. So you already know that we use input to get information from the user, to get the user data from the user. So let's just simply do that here. I want to create impute profile name here, impute underscore profile name. I want to have it here, profile name underscore profile name. So, and I want to equate it to something. I want to equate it to a string which will be inside of this impute. So I want to ask the user to enter their profile name. Enter your profile name. So I also want to let them enter their password. Alright, input underscore password. So I want to equate it. It's not me that will provide this information, they will have to provide it by themselves. So input here. So I want to ask them to enter their password. Enter your password, rather enter your password. This is it. So now the next step we are going to take now is verifying if the profile name and the password matches. When it matches, we are going to grant them access. Remember, we are doing this using conditional statement, that is the if, the elif, and else. So let's create the first conditional statement. The first conditional statement we're going to create there is if the input profile name is equal to the profile name that we created before. Then let's see what we have. So let me also highlight this step, this last step we are going to take for this, verifying the user data. So now if we are done verifying that and the matches, so if the input, alright, the input underscore profile name, this is equals to, that is directly equal to input, rather that's equal to profile name. So what will happen, and these two conditions that we are taking there, we want the both condition to match. The first is the profile name and the second one is the password. So we are going to put them on the same statement. The first one is if the input profile name is directly equal to profile name, and now let's have that, and the input password is equal to the password. So now we now specify the action to be taken. Input underscore password, this is directly equal to the password. Alright, so what will happen? So I want to terminate this, go over to the next one. I want to print. Alright, I print this now. Let's say if these two conditions are correct, so then what do we have on the console, on the terminal? I want to print welcome. Then I want to call the person's name, welcome space plus string. No, this is not it. So welcome, I want to call the person's name. So I want to be able to, like, if the user should enter the username, which they will do by themselves, want to see it on the screen. Welcome, let's say the person's username is, let's say John, let's say Doe or anything. So we want to say welcome. Then I want to add the variable I created for username, which is username. So it's going to say welcome this. So this is how this works. So I want to get rid of this from here, come over to this side and place it. So I think we are good to go. This is the first condition. If this first statement that we just put there is correct, then we should grant access to the user. So if not, that is else. Go over and tell the user that print access denied, check your password and username. So this is the what we want to show to the user, that is if the profile name and the password does not match. We don't want to grant them access to the account. They should go over and check out for the password and the profile name as it were. So guys, let's just run this and see how it works on the terminal. Now remember that the information I provided before as my profile name is John Python, then my password is John Python 1567. I want to use this particular data to check if our program is actually very correct. So now on the terminal is already asking me to enter my username, and we made that possible ourselves when we specified that we should put that profile name by ourselves. So the profile name there, I want to put John Python as it were. That is the information then if I enter that, it's going to ask me to enter my sorry guys, there's an error somewhere. The first thing I'm supposed to put there is my username. So let's run this again. Sorry. So it's asking for my username and I'm now providing my profile name. We are going to run into an error. So my username is I want to say is anything, could be anything, so we do not predefine it in our program. So we should be the one to provide that information. So let me say that my username here is, let me say John Doe, not John Python this time around. So if I hit enter, it's going to ask me for my profile name, which is predefined there as John Python. Alright, that is the mistake we made. John Python, that is my username. Alright, so if I hit enter, it's going to ask me for my password, which I put there as John Python John. So guys, we are done programming all the whole thing. We enable us to get the user data and verify if the matches with the one that is stored in the database. What we are going to do now is to test run it to see if actually what we program is working. Now let's do that. So we want to run this, you come to this play icon and just click on it and it take you to the terminal. The terminal is inbuilt here. So now it's asking us for my profile name, and I set my profile name here. For me, I have to be one to provide it. It's not stored in the database. So let me say that I want to use a certain profile name, for instance, like let's say John Doe. Alright, so this should be my profile name. So now the pre-stored or predefined username here is John Python. So if I hit enter now, it's going to ask me for my username. So enter is already asking me enter your username. So I will simply say from here I have John Python as my username. So if I hit enter, it's going to ask me for my password. So and from here now we have John Python 1567. That is the predefined password for this program. So now I'm simply going to say John Python 1567. So if I hit enter now, say welcome John Doe. So now if you see now, this John Doe is I just provided myself. So and that is the effect of what we have here, this particular expression that we have here. So now we basically say that if all these conditions are correct, it should print on the terminal that welcome, then plus the name, the profile name that the user provided. Now let's check this and see if it's actually like working true. So we've run the first one, it's very effective, the power program. Then the second one, we want to change this. I want to input another name. The first one I input let's say I input John Doe. So I want to use another profile name this time around to show you guys that. So guys, you just want to change the profile name and see that this is actually working. I want to change the profile name to something like, let's say Rex. This is actually my username somewhere. So so I hit enter and it's going to ask me for my username. This username cannot change. If you change it now, we are going to run into an error, which we are going to see in the next trial. So now my username here is John Python. It's always going to be John Python because that is the information I provided from the beginning during the point of registration. So now I have to say John Python here. So if I hit enter, it's going to ask me for my password. I have to provide a password that matches. So John Python 1567. So So if I hit enter, I'm going to ask welcome Rex Junior. So any name you put here is always going to show on the screen or terminal as it is here. So now let's try inputting a wrong username or password. Now let's run this program again and see what we are going to have in the terminal. So let's say here is Rex Junior as I did before. So I hit enter and answer. Let's say I put only John there. My username, I put only John, then enter the password, I put only John, then maybe something else. John. So, and this is not the password. If I hit enter now, access denied, check your password and profile name. And that is what we program this to work like. So you see, this first statement is this first if is if these two conditions are met, the password, the input password has to be equal to the username, that is the variable created before, or we call it a predefined username and password stored in the database. They have to be equal to the user, and the input password has to be equal to the predefined password that we had before. Then if any of these conditions are not met, then it's going to take us to this last one, which is access denied, check your password and profile name. So guys, this is a simple way you can program or you can verify the password and username of your user. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell to get more content like this. See you in the next video. Thanks.